Hi, my name is Angel Rivera. I am the master in the Pitorro blending program that was part of the Maryland State's Arts Council Folk Life Apprenticeship Program.
And I am Crystal Rivera. I was the apprentice.
Okay, that's a question for you.
Yeah, so I wanted to do the program because Pitorro Curando has a long tradition of being handed down generation to generation. Pa learned from abuelo, and so I wanted to continue that and officially have the handing of the torch to learn from Pa.
I think I wanted to do the program for a reason very similar to what Crystal described. For me, it's an honor and a source of pride that my daughter wants to continue the tradition of blending flavor into Pitorro. I was more than happy to be available, take the time, and go through the process of actually teaching her how to do that.
So the apprenticeship funds helped to make it so that we could essentially pick whatever ingredients that we wanted. I got to essentially go up and down the aisles of natural food stores. I went online. I got kind of creative in thinking outside the box of where I could get ingredients from and the potential to flavor, and so being able to use those funds to help that creative effort was a big help.
My skills as a master in this program were enhanced by the fact that we were able to use those resources, as Crystal explained, in order to buy ingredients to get separate the actual product itself, the rum, to blend, for us to actually have time on the calendar to do that. And I learned probably in this program as much as Crystal, because she was very knowledgeable in nutrition and food, and she came at me with ideas and proposals for blending that were outside of what I have historically done. So I had to actually do some research and learn, so I can come back and give her my recommendations as the master. And in that process, I actually learned as well. The original plan included what we thought was the most efficient way of doing the program. We thought that a good way of doing the program was for me to teach all the techniques and all the variations on how to infuse flavor into Pitorro, and then hand it over to Crystal for Crystal to do the same thing. It became evident pretty quickly that the best way to do that was not to teach her all the techniques, but to teach her one technique and then have her right away apply that technique instead of waiting maybe 2 months down the program or 3 months down the program in order to do that. That was one of the benefits that we did by actually changing originally.
Yeah, that helped to keep it fresh in my mind. 1 week he would teach me something, and then I would immediately start thinking about how I would implement the technique of whatever we were covering that week, and so it was very real time that we were able to kind of adjust based on our different learning styles.
Yeah, and Crystal also came with new ideas, different ways of actually infusing flavor, so that were not part of the original. We submitted the proposal as, from my standpoint, a traditional way of doing it. Crystal, with her different generational flavor palette and taste, came with ideas that then we actually incorporated into the program that were not original, like flavoring with spices, like flavoring with a lot of ingredients that I have never used before. So we had to actually learn a little bit on the fly and also adjust. came out with a lot more flavor combinations that we thought originally. I'll let Crystal mention this last one, which is that she actually was ideally you taste as you're doing it, and because Crystal is expecting, we had to make a modification that went something like this.
Yeah, so when I was not pregnant at the time of us applying for the program, and we got the good news shortly after we were accepted. So that figuring out, okay, how are we gonna still, like, smelling is still on the table. If I taste something, I'm gonna have to spit it. And then, you know, I think in the future, if we are able to do this sort of thing again, then I'll be on the other side of the pregnancy and actually able to get the piece that I feel like is missing, where you actually swallow. There's an element that there's the taste buds, but then the throat feel and
The smoothness.
having everything go down. I had to take his word for.
Yes, and also she'll probably will trust more her smell and her taste, because she admittedly mentioned that she had noticed that she was tasting and smelling things differently outside of the workshop.
Yeah, either heightened or slightly skewed. The first trimester when I was having the nausea, it was very different than second trimester. So
I think that the broader folk life aspect of Pitorro blending benefit from the standpoint of now in Maryland there being two individuals that can contribute to it. Contribute to it from two different aspects, right? Because I will continue to grow. I'll try to always do that, but I know that I'm going to be much more rooted in a more traditional way of doing things. And now Crystal is coming in, and now in Maryland there's another individual that will be applying the Pitorro blending craft from a slightly different point of view.
yeah, so when we started the distillery, you know, on the business side, I focused on the distillation, fermentation distillation, and Ba, with over 30 years of experience, is the master blender, and we've kind of divided the workload in that sense. And so he gives me the recipe and I follow his instructions, and then I come to him. I've always come to him with the final result and say, okay, does this have the final stamp of approval? Does it need a little sweetening? But he's the foremost expert. And now that we've been able to have the time on the side to have me learning about curando, he exposed me to his thought process of how to do a blend, and maybe the starting point doesn't take you to where you want to go, so how do you fix it and not give up on a batch?
Never.
No such thing as a bad blend, it's just not finished yet. Mm-hmm. So definitely being able to kind of cross-pollinate that skill set is something that I come from a culinary background. Back in the day, I worked in restaurants and all that stuff, so thinking about like flavor profiles, taking that skill set from a past life and bringing that back to the Pitorro world has been exciting.
My expectations for this program were exceeded on a couple of different levels. One of them was our ability to do more than what we had planned on doing. The program really is about blending flavor, and we originally set off to do the traditional approaches, and we were able to, in the middle of the program, add spices, add flavor profiles that are completely outside of the traditional palette. And so I learned from that. We came out with some exciting flavors that we're really looking forward to showcasing.
My expectations were definitely met. I think the only limitation was on the personal side, having to adjust with the pregnancy, but definitely was still able to learn and get a lot out of the program. My baby girl here was definitely the biggest challenge in figuring out, okay, like I'm just gonna dip my finger in the little shot glass and get a taste, and is that really gonna be enough to get a sense of the direction of where it's going? And times when I was having the morning sickness, in the afternoon even, but it's still.
So a pleasant surprise for me was the times that Crystal came to me with ideas on flavor profiles that I had never thought of, or with questions for example, you take for granted that the longer the Pitorro is blending, the more mellow it is. But scientifically or chemically, I did not know why. But Crystal asked me the question, so I did research in order to actually find out what was really finding at the sort of chemical and molecular level, and those kind of things and that's just one example that we talked about, and then when did research came back and reported to each other, was very cool.
During the course of this program, we ended up adding on, 3-4 additional techniques or flavor profiles or topics that we wanted to explore. And I feel like that list continues to grow. So just, as many foods as you can find and flavors as you can find, we're kind of curious how's it going to pair with that very unique flavor and smell profile of Pitorro. So I think that there's still a whole uncharted territory of what Pitorro can be done with.
I agree. So I think that going into this, for me, Pitorro was a way for you to add a fruit flavor. Pretty much I was sort of contained in that traditional box, and as we've moved through this iteration, I found that I'm thinking more of flavoring Pitorro almost the same way that you would a culinary art, where you have really an infinitesimal number of options that you can actually blend flavor into, with the numbers, with the types of spices, and not really limiting yourself. So I'm really looking forward to doing more of what we started doing in this program.
Yeah, I think that we've done a really good job with this round in learning about the tradition and why things have been done the way that they have up to date. But traditions also have the room and potential to evolve. And so I see the future as leaving room for growth and honoring the past while still exploring the future.
Yes, and one other thing that we also want to do that we didn't get the opportunity to do now is trying to get the tradition and make it a little bit more Maryland based. We know that within all those potentials and all those options of blending flavor, Maryland has unique flavors and has unique fruits and has traditions that have to do with food that we should be able to take advantage of in the future.